Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome back to the Marvel Podcast. I'm here today with Hax Dogma to discuss Falcon and the Winter Soldier drops next Friday, everyone. We're super hyped to be here. The reviews and reactions are in for the first episode, and they're saying it's going to be a really awesome season of Marvel, everyone. We're going to talk about it all here today on the podcast. And yeah, we're just going to dive into it. We're going to talk about the early reviews and reaction. We're going to give our own kind of thoughts on some of the plot points and characters that we're going to see in the 6 episodes of this season. Anyways, there might be a second season of Falcon and Winter Soldier. We'll talk about that. But yeah, we're going to talk about it all today here. Hax, how you feeling, my man?
Feeling good. Love all the trailers. Love little tidbits that keep dropping. A little more, elaboration into what we're going to see with Winter Soldier and La Falcon. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Let's kind of just jump right into it, I guess. So some press got to see it early, and also some YouTubers watched a couple of reviews. Yep. They can't really reveal too much, obviously, because of NDAs. You can't just go on spoiling the episode. That's a big lawsuit that you would get from Marvel and Disney if you talked about everything that was going to be happening. But a bunch of people got to check this one out early. We remember that people got to see the first 3 episodes of WandaVision. This is going to be a thing that's going to happen with Loki and future projects for all of these Disney Plus TV shows. But Hax, the reaction is very good for Falcon and Winter Soldier. We talked about it a little bit on the podcast that we think it could possibly be underrated because WandaVision set this really high bar with storytelling and the character development and just kind of the mythology that we were craving from some of these characters that we never got in the MCU. But it turns out it looks like it's going to start off with a 10-minute action sequence, which is going to apparently blow us out of the water. And then the rest is huge character development for both Bucky, Sam, and other characters in the MCU. They say the drama is underrated, but yeah, man, the reactions are, I think I saw like a couple of medium reactions, but most of them are really positive.
Yeah, I mean, so I haven't seen any reactions. I didn't even know that the episode was out for anybody to view. But yeah, I mean, if there, it makes sense to start with the action sequence. It seems like also, if you think back to Winter Soldier, the first 10 minutes of that are just fighting in Sokovia. And that was such a great way to start it because, you see right away the who we're dealing with, what our heroes are going to be in this Avengers story. And, I guess it actually wasn't an Avengers story. It was Captain America, Winter Soldier. But yeah, ultimately, I love action to start it off and then a nice calm or drama to exist after that, like a big, set up the plot from the very beginning and then everything cascades down.
Yeah, we kind of had that door opened in WandaVision, right? Like that post-Endgame reality check. What is life like for people post-blip? Right, like we often talk about here, how we get the perspective and POV of these superheroes, where we get these protagonists like Tony Stark. He's a billionaire. He's super intelligent, right? Like he's got a good life. Thor, he's a god. You know what I mean? Like these types of characters. It's not to say that we can't empathize with them. We obviously can because we grew up reading comics about them, playing with action figures, seeing these movies, and just getting a brilliant history in the MCU from all of these characters. But now we're starting to get into people like Sam. People, someone like Sam. He's not enhanced.
He's a regular ass dude.
He's a regular ass dude, man.
I could beat up Sam.
Whoa!
I could beat up Sam. I want everyone to take note of that.
I don't.
March 14th, me and Sam.
I don't believe that at all.
Yeah,
but yeah, man. So that is something that obviously is great for storytelling, right? We want to have the ability to explore kind of what life is like for people like us in the MCU, right? One thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say with that, like, I feel like he has to become enhanced, right? Like, I'm not too familiar with his comic series, or up until the point where he becomes Captain America himself. But I feel like he just has to be enhanced, right? Like being super soldiers, this like idea of augmentation, It's such a crucial part of Marvel's overall story. Like majority of the story that we've seen so far with Captain America, and even not Captain America, like it's all about augmentation and creating super soldiers and Nazi programs, American programs, all of these things. I feel like Sam is just a regular ass dude, and like I feel like he has to become enhanced. Either that or the story is just going to be showing what the little person can do, which is great. I love that, right? But at the same time, like if he ever wants to throw the shield like Captain America did, he's not going to do that unless he's juicing.
One thing that is super interesting, one of these trailers that just came out recently, I think it was like 4 days ago, Hacks. It's a pretty funny banter between both Sam and Bucky, and they're talking about the big three of aliens, androids, and wizards. And they're talking about how Sam is saying, like, hey, these are the big three threats that we face on a regular basis. Ultron, these androids, these, and the like Sentinels. This could tease Sentinels for the future. Obviously aliens. We've had the Chitauri and we've had Thanos, and just that's always going to be a thing, right? Yeah. Skrulls, whatever the Kree. And then we have wizards, and the conversation goes on because this ties into WandaVision a little bit. And and then there's a fight between Bucky and Sam where he says, Doctor Strange is a sorcerer. He's not a wizard. And then he's like, and then Bucky's kind of egging him on. He's like, "What are you? What are you, Gandalf?" He's like, and then Sam goes at him, and then Bucky's like, "I read The Hobbit back in 1937." So this is setting up for some really epic banter. Like I think we knew we were going to get some of the 1980s buddy cop influence from like Lethal Weapon and that kind of yin and yang storytelling that you get from these type of bros, so that's really, I'm so excited for that, man, because I think that some of these early reactions and reviews are talking about the tone of the show. Captain America Winter Soldier tone. That's a serious tone.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I do like the buddy cop idea. I am afraid that it's probably that it won't translate. In the sense that like buddy cop shows, movies, anything like that aren't really popular right now. Also in the sense that like just some of the dialogue between them, I feel like is really awkward. I don't know why.
Like forced?
Yeah, like forced. Like it doesn't feel like a natural conversation or something. Like even the whole wizard sorcerer joke. I'm just like, damn, if my buddy like did that to me, I would fucking just stop talking to them. Like you clearly knew what I was talking about. You clearly knew that a sorcerer was the same thing as a wizard, right? Like, and of course it's delivered for comedy, but like, I just worry that
it'll be too pointed. Do you think it'll be too directed? It will like these. Like
they're trying too hard. Like it should like a funny thing. It should just be a natural conversation. Like
instead of like natural chemistry between the two characters. You think? I see. I feel like that we haven't really had the chance to explore the backstory of these two characters. So, how much screen time they've had. We talked about Wanda and Vision getting literally 10 minutes, 15 minutes of screen time together in the big movies, right? But now, like, Bucky and Falcon have definitely had more time than that, right? Like, they've had more time to interact and get to know each other and stuff like that. But this gives them a real chance to not only explore, especially for Bucky, some of his traumas, because I think I think we'll go back in time, because we're going to be exploring not only the identity of Captain America, but what his symbol means to the public, to them personally, to the world, what that really stands for, right? Yeah. And I think that's going to be a really kind of not really interesting for Bucky, because I think it relates to his past traumas, right? Like, he's enhanced, he's had all these things happen. We know that Baron Zemo is going to be there, and he's obviously linked to Hydra, all that kind of stuff. And then we have Sam, like, not feeling worthy of, this incredible legacy that is previously been before him with Steve Rogers. Like, how can you follow that up, man? Like, look at the list of accomplishments from Captain America. Like, how do you follow up from something like that. It's like, if I were to write a grunge album and try drop it a week after Nirvana Nevermind dropped their album, you know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, how do you do that?
Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of it. I think, imposter syndrome. I think both of them are going to be feeling some kind of way about their perception as heroes in the world. Seeing Captain America leave, I think is also going to be like a big point for the world, where it's just like superheroes have abandoned us, because he is such a, he is the Avenger. Like, he is the force that shows that, hey, superheroes are good. And without him, with other people that aren't as experienced and don't have the accolades that he has, I think 100% that the public perception is going to be a part of this. Probably even with all superhero stories moving forward, like the entire MCU, I think a big point of the MCU is going to be the perception of these heroes. And we saw that a lot with Wanda, and how she is by default just viewed as something to be feared. And of course that becomes manifested in WandaVision.
This is going to be such a big plot point in Falcon and Winter Soldier. This Captain America plot point we're talking about. We got to remember also, like, the Thaddeus Ross Sokovia Accords is going to play a big role, right? Like, Baron Zemo, his intention is going to be undermining public trust in superheroes, not only eliminating them, but putting out propaganda or framing them in a way that sets them in a negative light in the public. And I think that, I think what we could possibly see here, it looks like, the government is going to be appointing their own faux Captain America, right? This U.S. agent. And I could see a situation where Baron Zemo manipulates him like he did Bucky with this, because he's incredibly intelligent, right? Like, Baron Zemo is also not enhanced. He's not part of that big three hacks, right? He's not an alien, an android, and he's not a sorcerer or wizard. He literally has to use his intelligence, his money, his cunning to deal with people that are much, much harder to kill than he is.
So you made a comment about the government selecting their own Captain America. Was that in the trailer? Did I miss that?
I mean, U.S. agent, and this is a comic storyline as well. We got to remember. I think what's going to happen is this: Steve Rogers handed down the shield to Sam, right?
Yeah.
But remember what happened with the Sokovia Accords. Thaddeus Ross is not going to be happy that he was aligned with Captain America's ideologies. He is basically Steve Rogers' like best friend, other than Bucky. You know what I mean? And he's going to be like, no. Broke the Sokovia Accords. We're going to appoint our own Captain America, and that's going to be a huge sticking point. I think they're going to take the shield from him.
I don't think they can, because I think it's not government property, right? It was Stark property or something like that.
But
symbolically,
Sam, Sam handing it over, like, trying not to create a conflict. You know what I mean? Like, him already having this idea in his head that he's not worthy. I don't think he's going to try to create more conflict with the government. Like, I could see them, like, maybe like Bucky trying to work with this person, like them trying to, okay, let's get behind this new Captain America idea. Let's see if it can work, type of deal. I don't know. That's kind of how I generally feel about it. I don't think they're going to try to cause problems. Yeah,
I definitely think you're right. I think the government's not going to perceive them as good intentions either. Although at the same time, like, some of the trailer that we've seen, like, they're definitely funded. They're working for military. Actually, honestly, I think that what we're going to see is that they are given another chance by the military. To see that, like, after Endgame, honestly, if the government keeps this, like, really anti, Captain America, or the people that broke the Sokovia Accords response, like, that, I think that would be one of the dumbest things possible. In the sense
that would make
like,
them an antagonist, I think.
Yeah, well, also idiots, in the sense that, like, your rules almost prevented the world being saved. Like, the Sokovia Accords, like, in Endgame, they're literally like, arrest them, Ross says to
Civil War.
No, Rhodes. Yeah, he says it not in Civil War, but
in the projection, in his projection.
Yeah. And he's like, arrest them. Like, dude, we're about to save the the planet. Like, chill out. We're about to save life across
without
all
us. You guys are
universes.
screwed, man.
Yeah. So if they keep this, I could definitely see them do it, but I also think it'd be so dumb. Like, maybe give them another chance. Maybe show that something like that. And then I think the trailer screenshots align with that too, because it's like we do see them in a military plane with military personnel talking to them. But at the same time, it's also only talking to Sam, which I thought was going to be I think a trailer dropped. Did you see the one that dropped today? Maybe
we reacted and reviewed all of them yesterday live, actually, together. So I think I've seen all of them, unless there was a new one today.
Well, I only saw it today, and it was like 3 hours ago on Twitter.
Okay,
but it was the one. It may have been new, or old, but it was them in the plane about to jump, and he was like, "What's your okay?" Yeah. So, all of that to say, I think that the military will give them another chance, or the government will give them another chance, and but yeah,
it's going to be interesting too, because we're going to have the appearance of Sharon Carter. She is, one of the best SHIELD agents, has worked alongside Nick Fury. She's going to be in deep undercover now for, like 6-7 years. So we know she's going to come into conflict based on the trailers. She's in that same shipping yard container area where Zemo he's walking with his mask, his purple mask, and then he puts it on and there's a huge explosion. So obviously they're not going to be on the same side, because it looks like Bucky, Sam, and Sharon are all trying to fight out of there. So there's going to be some sort of conflict. And I really like the idea, Zemo kind of pulling the strings, like maybe getting the Masters of Evil or the Thunderbolts, him trying to align these other terrorist organizations, or these people who are at least affiliated to them. As we know, George St. Pierre's Batroc is going to be appearing. There's a rumor that Omega Weapon is going to be appearing in the island of Madripoor. Aaron Kellyman is rumored to lead the group of the Flag Smashers and could possibly be playing Songbird. So we can see maybe Zemo kind of getting this Dark Avengers group together to kind of try to, because we know that his intention is to finish his mission, like he says right in the trailer, right?
Yeah. I think I would really like the events of WandaVision to continue here in Winter Soldier. Just because, like, if anybody could show the public, or like show a malicious plot to reveal, superheroes for what they are, it would be Baron Zemo, right? So I think, like, us seeing Wanda just like totally outed for the true and actual crimes that she did, and then use that as a part of the masterful game of turning the world against the Avengers. Like, that would be so good.
I'm trying to wonder. I'm wondering, like, how, because we talked about how Zemo has to use his cunning, his intelligence. How is he going to get rid of enhanced people like Bucky, like a super soldier? Like, how does, on a mass scale, what does he do? Because he has to do something on a large scale if he wants to accomplish something like this. Like, what does he do? Like this? Yeah, does he start a pandemic or something? You know what I mean? That affects mutants. I don't know, man. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, in my head, like, what is his? What kind of is he? He can't blow up into the entire world. I don't know if he necessarily. Maybe he doesn't want to live anymore because his family's gone. But it seems like
we know that he was. Yeah, we know that he was ready to take his own life, right? Like,
yeah,
and that's such a good scene, man. I think he's such a great actor.
Yes,
Baron Zemo, whatever his name is, I forget.
Daniel Bruhl.
Yeah, and and also, man, I recently watched that scene again, and just seeing Chadwick Boseman, just my heart, man, so sad. But yeah, it's a great scene, and he's just to the point, and it's not like, and he's a very relatable bad guy too. He's like, I had to do what I did for family. Your father was taken. I understand what you have to do now, and yeah, it's just, I love the idea that he's just very relatable, very human, but at the same time, like, wants to do just evil shit, like, but not just for the sake of like chaotic evil, just like because he has an explicit justification in his mind and he's running with it. I love that idea, and
that's what makes
Yeah.
It's so hard to. I don't want to use the word hate, but I mean, like if you lost your wife and child, obviously you would feel a certain way. You would feel resentment. You would feel guilt about not being able to protect them. And those are certain. I mean, like this is the main driving force behind his whole ideology and what he's trying to accomplish. He's like, oh, these greater powers can't control their power. How do I control them and get rid of them? That's his main goal.
Yeah.
He's not really wrong. You're right.
Yeah. I would love, again, to see like a, maybe with Sword, some kind of tie-in with like the Sentinel program, if that does exist. I think Sentinels will be a great way to show or to start off this idea of, policing without superheroes. So I think that could be a really natural caveat to both integrate Sentinels into the story and then, ultimately be something that was anti-superhero. But at the same time, I don't know if we'll get that. I do think that if Baron does the same thing that it does and is like just playing this like manipulative behind the scenes role, I think it might be hard to relate to him as like the villain of the story. Well, not relate to him, but like, whenever you watch Civil War, like the majority of the movie doesn't involve him. It's just like very tiny pieces that actually like over the course of the movie are like, oh yeah, okay, he's pulling the strings this entire time. That's cool.
This is going to be an extension of that big time.
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, I worry that like if he is just still continuing to be the behind the scenes puller, that it's nothing new. Like we've already seen him do this to the peak of his potential. There's no way that he could do behind the scenes pull strings manipulator evil guy better than what he did in Civil War.
Which is so interesting. Why the big three is mentioned, like aliens, androids, and wizards. What if there's a big four? Like, what if we find out that humans themselves, a guy like Zemo who's not enhanced at all, he's as big a threat as all of those three? Like, right? Like, he's that intelligent. He's that driven because of what happened to him, right? Yeah. Like that tragedy in his life. So it's going to be really interesting to see because I think that, it's going to be an interesting meeting when Bucky meets up with him again because, in the trailer, he's at the Sokovia Memorial where he's honoring his family and Bucky's got a gun pointed at him and he takes all the bullets from his gun. And it looks like they're together in Madripoor, so I don't know if they have to team up, but I still think Zemo is going to be that. There's no way that he's not the main antagonist in this show.
I would love if he teamed up. I would love just total expectations subverted. He is actually the protagonist of this story.
Have to take on a bigger bad, like one of those big three, like or maybe big four. We get I think this is actually going to tie a lot into X-Men, especially that island of Madripoor, which has links to Hydra, which has links to the Hand, which has links to people like Wolverine, the kind of the dark market there, like the dark arms market, these dark weapons, all of these things that kind of tie into, more of the criminal underworld of the MCU. Those types of things. I would love more X-Men integration. Like I feel like it may be, us just bringing up these ideas for nothing because, they have announced, the Mutants, which is going to be the series in X amount of years. That was like last week, right? That was pretty recent, right?
Yeah, very recent. Yeah. And, so I think that is ultimately the plan. I think that's probably where their focus is for getting the X-Men series into the MCU. So as such, maybe all of this is for naught, all the theory crafting. But at the same time, man, the idea of having Wolverine come into this story, to show like just because he's not human, but he was once human. And
he's enhanced.
Yeah, I think this idea of like, further enhancement, different ways that Sam could enhance,
Omega Weapon is also part of that program as well. Yeah, remember the same program as Wolverine. So.
Yep. But yeah, just stuff like that isn't inherently good or, stuff that Sam would have to go through in order to become, and honestly, we keep singling out Sam, but like, Bucky is just a guy with a metal arm. We know that he has a little bit of enhancement, I think, but the majority of it was just he was brainwashed to be a good assassin, and then he was a good assassin, and he had a metal arm. Like that was it. unless I'm forgetting something.
Oh no, he's got the serum in him. He's like 100 years old. Remember that.
Does he have the serum in him?
Yeah, dude, he's a super soldier, my friend. Well, I mean, he got. Did he get cryoed as well? But yeah, Bucky is also enhanced, my friend.
Yeah. So I don't know. Honestly, I just want to see Sam enhanced. It's not that I don't care about him without that. It's that he is so limited in what he can do. And it's like, yes, Iron Man was not enhanced, but he had a complete suit of armor. One bullet kills Falcon. Like, that's it, man. He's not tanking anything. He's not taking on tanks or shooting. Well, I guess he can shoot missiles, but
it's gonna be. You're right, man. He faced not similar tragedy to Wanda, because Wanda's parents were killed. That's a pretty big deal. But he was experimented on by Hydra, like Wanda. And that's how he got some of his superhuman abilities, right? Like, he was literally tortured. He still has PTSD. I think they're going to obviously explore that too, because they have to have some flashbacks into kind of like his trauma and kind of his fear of that happening again, right? And It looks like, at least in the trailer, it's hinted at that Zemo is going to try that again, and that Bucky's going to say it doesn't work on me anymore. But still, that's going to affect him mentally. I really hope they deep dive into his mental state. It looks like they're going to be, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and the mental state of these superheroes are also amazing to explore. Like, firstly, yeah, he had an alternate formula variation of Zola, of the super soldier serum. So yeah, all the stuff that Captain America has. So yeah, I mean, honestly, just like let's give him some more of that. Let's give Sam some of that. But ultimately, yeah, the psychology of these heroes, trying to be greater than they really are. I like the idea of Sam being Captain America, but at the same time, like, damn, dude, why didn't they just? I don't know. Why didn't they just? Or why didn't Captain America just give the shield to Bucky? Like. Even on screen, the chemistry between Bucky and Captain America was so much better than the chemistry between Sam and Captain America. And it's also like, this was your buddy, right? And I know how the comics go, but like, Bucky was his buddy in the what we've seen in the MCU. Like, it was like this big buildup of all that they've gone through as friends, all that they've gone through as lovers. I'm just kidding, as soldiers, and and then transcending time to still be friends, to break out of mind manipulations, and just such a great story between these two characters. And then Captain America's like, oh yeah, Sam, the person that I met a couple days ago, here you go, here's my legacy. For some reason, that's always been just a huge thorn in my foot. But at the same time, I he can do it. If he's enhanced. Otherwise, the shield is just garbage. Like, he's holding a shield.
One of the things that could also happen that we can see, Hacks, is we saw that with Wanda with the Mind Stone interaction, right? Like, they enhanced the whole Age of Ultron wasn't up there in my favorite Marvel movies. It was like, it's okay, you know what I mean? Of course I enjoyed it because I'm a huge Marvel fan. It doesn't rank in like my top 5 or my top 10 or whatever. Yeah. And they can I think they can do the same thing. I'm not saying they retcon anything, but they can go back, and this is what Marvel is so good at. They can tie in this project into their earlier projects. And once you go back and watch Captain America and Winter Soldier, you're going to be like, oh my God, by the time this show is over, we're going to be like, oh shit, it's going to illuminate so much more because we didn't get all of this backstory and this kind of extrapolation on, some of these things that happened to Bucky. So I expect there will be some twists and turns that make us chat about, like, we're going to look back at this conversation and be like, oh, okay, this is what they're doing with that,
Yeah, hopefully. I am hopeful for the series, but at the same time, man, they've set the benchmark really high for WandaVision, even with what can be perceived as kind of a hiccup at the finale there. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, I'm excited for it, and I hope that it's good.
The Falcon and Winter Soldier director Kerry Scogland wants a season 2. And we were talking about before the pod that it looks like Loki is greenlit for a second season. That's a pretty big deal. We know that there's going to be other shows like Miss Marvel. Hawkeye could be one that's multiple seasons since there will be a female Hawkeye. I'm assuming after all of that goes down. But this is pretty good news because I think we know, like WandaVision, like maybe down the road there's a second season of WandaVision. I don't think it will be called WandaVision if there is another story that, to tell with Wanda and Vision, because I think they will meet again. Like they definitely teased that they will meet somewhere down the line. Maybe they call it WandaVision. I don't know. I just don't think it would have the same effect. But I think that we do see more storyline from them together. And it looks like, we're going to get this Wakanda series. Chances are if they do a Wakanda series, it's not only going to just be one season hacks. Like if they're going to explore the deep culture of Wakanda, it'll probably be multiple seasons. But the fact that we're going to be getting multiple seasons of some of these shows now is really exciting. And the fact that he wants it, they said that this is a limited series, but there is so many stories to be told with Winter Soldier and Falcon from the comics and Zemo and the Thunderbolts and all of that. So I actually like the chances of them. It definitely has a stronger chance to have a second season than like something like WandaVision,
Yeah. Yeah. Possibly. I think, the nature of what WandaVision is definitely only going to be one season. Also because of how far Marvel plans out their stories. I think it'll be a long time before we revisit Wanda's story as a separate thing that doesn't tie into the other movies
like
or
Doctor
TV
Strange,
shows. Yeah. But again, like I'm not excited for season 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm excited for 2 seasons of Loki. I'm excited for a surprise season of WandaVision or more Spider-Man stuff. But again, like this show really has to win people over. They're not popular superheroes. They're not they were never in the limelight. They were never big parts of any series. Well, I mean, both of them in a similar respect were like the second man or supporting actor to to Captain America at various times. But this first episode or this first season really needs to sell it. And
I think you're actually right. It's directly tied to the success that it will have. What are the numbers like? If it blows things out of the water and we're like, whoa, okay, WandaVision was supremely popular. What if it even surpasses one? There's a possibility that it does.
No way. Absolutely zero.
Yeah, but a lot of people were underestimating WandaVision, and people were saying, it was going to be more of a niche thing, and now look at it, right? I think that we have to be like, okay, like I'm not. The thing is like less people understood some of the Wanda plot points than they definitely do with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like this is more meta. I don't want to use the word meta, but this is more meta Marvel, I guess you would say. You know what I mean? More normie. So I think that this.
Wait, no way with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
You know what I mean, though. But so I think that it's going to be really interesting to see because Captain America is like what, like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. Those are probably the Spider-Man. Those are kind of the top 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's not the story, right?
Like, I know, but it's still interesting.
These are the supporting actors of his stories, like. Okay, so here's the thing. So yeah, WandaVision struck lightning, right? It's some crazy thing happened, and my mother was watching a TV show, that I also cared about. Like that doesn't happen often, and I think they probably won't hit gold twice. And because of the nature of the show, like it's 2 lead male actors, and Agent Carter. Is that her name?
Sharon Carter, yes.
Sharon Carter, yeah. Her being in this, I think would be great. She is in this, and I think that's great. But at the same time, man, my wife's hair is just like stuck to me. At the same time, it's two male actors, and I feel like a lot of audiences want that female role to be filled as well, to have like a to show that it's not just the boys' club or something like that. Like I think there is a very, very slim chance that it has the equivalent success of WandaVision. This feels like one that you could skip, right? This feels like something that you could skip, and then you would be fine because it would be explained later on. like I can't think of like major plot points because they are just two very limited superheroes. That are like I can't think of an overarching plot point that's going to be in this show that wouldn't better be served in another show or another medium.
Which is why if it does include like X-Men, for example, then
that would be
like,
monumental. Yeah,
then it's like okay, because I think that's what's going to happen in Madripoor. One of the other things from the early reactions, Hacks, was that there was a surprise guest appearance cliffhanger at the end of episode 1, and people are saying it's a big shocker. And it's cool. So we didn't really get that with one. We had all of these theories for Mephisto and Doctor Strange and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And that didn't really pan out. So now this is happening in the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And we're like, okay, like let's just kind of go with the story that maybe this is kind of one you can skip. But then boom, we have this guest appearance. It's like it kind of shocks. We're like, oh, okay, this is kind of just going to be them fighting, like a B-level villain like Baron Zemo, for example. But then it becomes something much more than that actually ties in to some of the bigger plot points, right? Like, I feel like it's so interesting, like that joking conversation, the mention of the big three, the aliens, the androids, and the wizards. And then, obviously that, whole funny discussion about Gandalf and the Hobbit and all of that. That seems really interesting to me for them to mention the big three like that. You know what I mean? Because that's like, that's directly connecting to WandaVision and just overarching like endgame shit that we got to see.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's also like a punch. It's a blow to themselves, right? Like I actually don't know if that was a good joke to include, and I wonder if they included that joke because there's not funnier moments in the series, right? Or what have you. But like at the same time, they're saying, hey, like we're two relatable humans. We're going against the big three, or it's one of these things, and I'm an old man, and but the ultimate point there is that like it's also reminding us that like these aren't special people. Like these aren't the big three. They're not the anyone that we should care about. And so like subconsciously, I wonder if like that was sending the message like, hey, skip the show. These aren't the big three. These aren't people we should care about. If you care about like the underdog trying to go against what's probably going to be the big three, one of those maybe, or again maybe something else entirely.
But let me ask you the question then now, Hacks, like because we haven't really got to like because the rumor is we're going to be seeing Sam with his family and exploring kind of that backstory and Sam's backstory. We've never really had that. We've got some of that with his talk with Captain America, but that was like directly in Captain, like, it was more about Captain America and how he's feeling about the world when he comes back from things. Like, you know what I mean? He's feeling like he's missed out on all of these things and he's trying to grow into this new world that he doesn't understand. But now we're starting, okay, do you feel like them exploring the backstories of Bucky and Sam getting to learn more about how they tick and why the way they are will make you more invested? Because that's exactly what WandaVision did. Wanda wasn't this character that everyone was incredibly invested in, right? And then by the end of it, people were saying, holy shit, like because of the pandemic, we would have had Doctor Strange 2 in 2 months. Yeah. You know what I mean? But now we don't have that, so now we have this Wade. And I'm sure the hype would have been much greater, and it would have made us kind of understand some of the decision-making processes of not including some of these characters and be like, oh, okay, well, Doctor Strange 2 is only 2 months away. But now we have this, and we really have this chance to explore these two characters who are considered more B-level characters as opposed to like, these A-list S-tier characters like Captain America, Thor, Iron Man. And now I'm like excited because like I want to learn more about these characters. I don't want to necessarily think about them in this way that I previously thought about them. It's like, I don't know enough about them to really connect with them on the level that I do with some of these other characters.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely think that their backstories will be fleshed out, and that, we'll probably like them much more. But man, at the same time, like, that's what they just did with Wanda. I don't think there's any way you capture that same thing, right? Like what could Sam's, tragedy be that, because that's the thing, like everybody loves tragedy, and well, actually maybe, him and Riley, like his best friend Riley, that he was a para something with, and seeing him get hit by the RPG. Actually, I think that's it. I think we're going to see that. Yeah, I think 100,000 billion% we're going to see his backstory include, the death of his best friend. And honestly, I hope he's gay.
What?
Yeah, I hope they're gay. Like the way, recently rewatching Civil War, I think is when Sam was introduced. The way he described like seeing his buddy die just felt like a very intimate thing, right? And it was just like, damn, like what if they were gay and that was just like they never addressed that, like what if they were more than buddies? And so I think
they were in love. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I think a twist like that would be quality.
I think regardless of that choice, it would still be super impactful. Like, that was his best friend.
Yeah, us seeing that death, I think, is going to be pretty monumental. And yeah, I mean, with Bucky, like we know his backstory. There's no more of his backstory that we could have. His backstory happened 80 years ago, right? Like,
I'm really interested to see if they will show some of this torture with Hydra. Like we got some of it, but it was like basically just the brainwashing, kind of the experimentation. It was very like surface level, you know what I mean? Just to show kind of the context of why Cap needed to save him, as opposed to us really caring about what happened to Bucky, I think, you know what I mean? And I think that they're going to explore more of that, you know what I mean? Because like they're exploring Captain America's legacy, and obviously Bucky said it was okay to Sam for him to go. Like Bucky could have went, but that would have been a more selfish decision on his part. So it's like, so now like, what if Cap dies? Old Cap dies. That would be a pretty interesting thing to happen, and certainly could happen because he came back to the timeline. He lived his slice of life like Tony told him to do, and we, see in the trailer kind of these. It looks like the military is gathering from sort of thing. Cap is on his left. We could certainly see a more contemplative nature for both of these, and that would bring them closer together, I think, too. Especially if Cap died, then they would have to. They can't just go talk to Cap anymore. They have to remember their memories with Cap and what he really stood for. So that would be, I think that would raise the stakes. And I think that would raise the bar for that. I think it's going to happen. I think Cap is going to die. I'm just going to say it right
Honestly,
now.
I would love the episode to start with Captain America's funeral, because I think 100% he's going to die. And that be ultimately the big bond that brings them together. And I would love for Baron Zemo to ruin it in some kind of way, right? So like, that be the 10 minutes of action. Like he comes out and he's like, desecrates the corpse or blows it up or something, or just like, announces or hacks everybody's phone and is like, hey, your idol has died and no one will ever pick up the mantle again. And, just like some giant power move, to let us know that, hey, he's in the story and he's a big deal. I think that would be a great way to start the series.
Or if his service is publicly televised, right? And because it looks in the trailer like there's kind of like all of these monitors and like signs where it's like it shows all the list of his accomplishments, like 1941 this happened, then this happened, and then there's like kind of like what we saw with White Vision, and it's his Captain America suit, right? Like it's on display. Like, what if they could go see that memorial or that's shown on TV, and then Zemo does something like this propaganda, you know what I mean? Takes over the broadcast, and that would be like, because I do feel like he said that superheroes can't be allowed to exist. Him trying to undermine the public trust, and then confusing people on the whole legacy of Captain America, and then U.S. agent going to screw things up, like the government appointed version of Captain America, and then Sam and Bucky having to clean all of that up is a really interesting story, I think.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I like the idea of early involvement with him. I don't know. I mean, honestly, some more of his backstory too. I want to see more of his backstory. I want to actually, that's what I want more than anything.
Baron Zemo?
Yeah. I want him to be so relatable that I feel something, when he dies. Whenever he dies, I'm sure he's going to die in the series. Just ultimate heartbreak to show that, like, hey, he was misguided. He had every intention to be doing something that he thought was good because he genuinely thought that superheroes were bad and that the world was just, misguided by false prophets, essentially.
Kind of almost like the Thanos balance thing. You could relate to that somewhat, but then Zemo having to go do something so terrible, like wiping out everyone, then it's like, oh shit. But like that would make it even more epic, because then you're like, oh man, I understand why he's hating everyone so much.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, and it's also really interesting when compared to Wanda too, right? Because like, at the end of her series, she is the person that enslaved almost 4,000 people because she was sad. Like, Baron Zemo decided that he hated the Avengers and, killed the people at the conference. And then I think there was also another big thing that he did that was directly, caused by him. But, ultimately, like, he has sacrificed human life to get to this point. And we've even seen him torture people. Also, his torture scene where he like drowns the guy with the reverse in the tub, up to his nose, and just like lets him drown in the water up to his nose. Such a way, like, oh my gosh, that has stood out in my memory for so long. I don't know why, but it's just like such an ominous, like, great way to establish a supervillain. But ultimately, yeah, like, I want to see him humanized. I want to see him, intentioned to make us realize exactly what he realizes, that, hey, Wanda exists, right? Like, bad people, are saying that they're good people, and human lives are suffering because of these superpowered individuals. Similar consensus to Hayward. I think that there might even be people in the government that don't support the superheroes anymore. Which, I mean, we see that in various aspects, but, different, I guess, different weights that would say, like, hey, like, we're willing to do this outside of, litigation. We want action. We want to stop them right away. I guess similar to Hydra, but yeah, I don't know. I think establishing his backstory more would be amazing, and yeah, make us fall in love with him, honestly, because, all of us love Wanda, right? But at the end of the day, she enslaved 4,000 people.
But what they did so well in WandaVision was explain like her grief and why she was doing what she did, and that was
exactly what
the
I'm
whole
saying,
part of it. So if they make that the main point of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think they will have similar success, right?
Yeah,
like, I mean, they will have
legitimately, like, Baron becomes Baron becomes Wanda. Like, if they show.
And they're both from Sokovia. And they're both from Sokovia.
And they're both from Sokovia. Yeah, dude. Like, show his grief. Like, there's one other point in the MCU series where I am dying to see, and we've talked about this before, but that's when, the Incredible Hulk tries to take his own life. That is such a monumental moment that we know about because it's off screen. Like, dude, that grief, that genuine emotion, that's what we need in Hulk. But also, that's what we need in Baron Zemo, right? Like, he was sad. He was willing to take his own life for his cause. That's it. He was done. He managed to drive a wedge between the Avengers. It ultimately didn't work, but he shot his shot, and then he was going to shoot himself. Like, that was it, And I mean, I think that mindset is pretty damning. I think that there's a lot to explore in terms of grief and mental health and trauma. And yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between him and Wanda.
Oh man, I just thought of something crazy.
Yeah.
What if the government believes that their interests more align with Zemo's, and then they try to remove Bucky and Falcon out of the picture because they want U.S. Agent to be their guy? I think Zemo is going to have his claws deep in this guy. He's going to brainwash this guy. And you know what I think he's going to – I'm just going to predict this now. I think that so this Captain America guy will be this new symbol. They'll prep him up like they do and, fluff him up like they do in television. And, we see American politics fluffed up all the time through TV to make it, kind of more reality TV like. They fluff up this guy, and Zemo gets this guy to do something really bad. And then that tarnishes Captain America's legacy even worse because he brainwashes him. And then I could see Zemo getting U.S. Agent to attack him and wanting that. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. I'm really the bad guy. Look at what Captain America is doing, and playing himself the victim, right? Because he has a legitimate, like you said, plight. Like his family was killed, and him playing off that line would be so smart, man. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some big manipulations, on his part. But also, again, I want more. I want either the background trauma explored or, us to see something other than what he's already done, which I'm not sure what else he could do. He's not enhanced. He doesn't have like anything like that. I mean, at the same time, like we've already seen people using Tony Stark's, technology without his explicit permission, in ways that they probably wouldn't be okay with, and we know Armor Wars is coming up. I would love to see him given
and he's gonna be in Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
Who?
Rhodes will be in Falcon and Winter Soldier, is confirmed.
Yeah. But Armor Wars being the point there, but or Tony Stark's technology being the point, but him having some kind of technology or something to even level the playing field, I think would be amazing. Because he couldn't fight anybody, he can't do anything. He's pretty much just a mind able to manipulate people, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, one of the other things that I kind of want to talk about that's interesting is that Black Widow is coming out soon. It's coming out after Falcon and Winter Soldier. Is it? Yeah, it's coming out. Anyways, it was supposed to come out before. Okay. And we know that Natasha Romanoff she dies in Endgame, right? The whole Soul Stone shit. Yelena Belova is going to appear in Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's going to be really, really interesting. And she's going to be like the new Black Widow. I can't remember her name.
Pretty well.
But that was Florence Pugh. She's playing, and she's going to be the new Black Widow. We're going to find out. So that's going to be a great movie because they're going to explore more of Black Widow's backstory. We're going to care about her more. She's going to die. We're going to get the Red Guardian and all that. But that's going to be something that is interesting. They're bringing together these characters that are kind of more tied to these Zemo-like plot lines, right? So that is interesting, and that is something that I'm excited about because we are kind of getting moving on from the RDJs. Not that they're moving on from Chris Hemsworth, but Thor 4 might be his last movie, for example. There might be a female Thor taking up the mantle, something like that. So we're starting to progress toward these storylines of people taking on the monikers of Captain America, Black Widow, these kinds of things. And that's really exciting too, man. Like I think we're going to see a lot of that in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Also, the idea of Natalie Portman being Thor, just so good. Honestly, Darcy, I would love to see Darcy be Thor.
I think she's a bit too funny for that. I don't think she would be able to, I don't think they would take her character seriously if they did that. But.
Yeah, she's just like, hey, what's up, fuckers? And then just like meow meows, into the scene.
Yeah, but overall, this is pretty exciting. I know you're not as excited because WandaVision is so good, but I'm really interested to see, after the first episode, how you feel about it because I'm wondering if it's going to hit all the right emotional beats for you.
Yeah,
I know that I'm going to really like it because Captain America: Winter Soldier is one of my top 3 favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's going to be great, but at the same time, I still have a lot of reservations. I don't think it's going to have the wide perception as WandaVision had. Just because WandaVision was such a unique idea, executed in such a great way. But even still, the first 3 episodes, I think, it wasn't popular. Nobody liked it to the extent that they did at the end of the series. After those first 3 episodes, after that, it was okay, there's mystery here. There's something going on. We need to figure this out. We need to keep watching.
And we were reviewing too. It was funny because we were this episode is the best one. This next episode was better than the last episode. And it kind of just grew on it. It creeped up on us and it grew on us. We were like, okay, this is a masterpiece by the end,
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, probably not the widest perception. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm sure it's going to be fine. Marvel, what have they made that's bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful. still have my reservations. Still think that there's a lot of ways that they could mess it up. I think that if they give Baron Zemo a more relatable character, show his backstory, show his trauma, then yeah, we'll like him just as much as we like Wanda now. Honestly.
Man, I'm so hyped, dude. I'm just, we kind of talked about this. Never in our wildest dreams that we think we were going to get Marvel TV shows like this. We always thought that they were going to be big budget movies. And now, I think Falcon and Winter Soldier will be superbly successful because Marvel knows how to do its thing. But I'm really interested to see by the end of the 6 episodes if we feel the same way that we did with WandaVision. And I feel like, the way when we get television episodes weekly, it makes us crave more. Like we can't get that episode till that next Friday. Right? Like we're waiting for that. And that's such a huge thing. Like when we go see a Marvel movie, we get that instant gratification of being in there for 2.5 hours. And then we walk out, we feel hyped about it for a couple of days, and then that dissipates. We're on to something else. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm still feeling WandaVision. I'm still being like, oh my God, that was so friggin' good. And now we're waiting for this, and we get 6 weeks of this. And I'm like, oh man, I just have a feeling because of the new Disney Plus TV format, I just feel like it affects us so differently, man. I don't know.
Yeah. And honestly, like with WandaVision, I'm still the same way, man. Like I'm still thinking of theories to explain stuff and like, honestly, I'm thinking about making this video about Agatha being like the true hero of the story, or just like to show a way in which the grand plot of Marvel, because we know the multiverse is coming, we know the Time Variance Authority is coming, all of these big points of the MCU or of the Marvel comic series, and so there's a very, very specific way that Agatha could actually be the good guy of the story. And, so I think a video about that would be amazing. But ultimately, yeah, like I want to definitely feel the same way about these characters that I feel about Wanda and Vision and Agatha now, at the end of these 6 episodes. And I'm hopeful, but pessimistic. Yeah.
I think we'll end the podcast today with a hopeful note in that I think we're both really excited. The reactions and reviews are all really positive. But, these people got to watch the episode early. That's kind of a perk. I'm not saying that we shouldn't trust these people, but, they are in the know. And I'm not saying they're paid to say that because they can give their own reviews and stuff like that. But I'm so curious. I think that starting the episode with 10-minute action sequence will be just amazing. It'll be a nice change up and we'll be like, yeah, the real Marvel is back. You know what I mean? Not being able to go to the movies and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like enjoy like a traditional Marvel action sequence. So that'll be cool. And it'll be just so cool to see because these are longer episodes too. Remember, all of them will be 45 to 55 minutes long. Apparently this one is around 50 minutes. So that's excellent. Yeah. That's going to be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that they're longer. Part of me wishes WandaVision was longer, but at the same time, I liked the evolving time based on the era
and how much story they had to tell for each episode.
Yeah.
This one will be probably more formulaic, like a Homeland, for example. They kind of had like their problem of the week. You know what I mean? And then and then there would be like kind of the main thread through each of those 10 to 12 episodes. I think that, it would be really interesting if they kind of did a big bad of the week type of deal in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think that actually might happen, Hacks, because think about it. Like we'll have Zemo, right? And then we'll have other, George St. Pierre's Batroc will be in there. If Omega Weapon is in there, if Songbird and the Flag Smashers, like they could be all connected. Like Zemo could be connecting all of these people, like using them as kind of like his army / distraction. But I think that we could kind of see like one of the, and these are only like B tier level villains, right? Like Siege or whatever. So you would only need to include them really in a week or whatever, like a big fight, boom, Falcon and Bucky deal with them. And then, it's like, okay,
Baron that's a really great idea.
Yeah, like so Baron Zemo will be the overarching villain all the way until the end, but then we see kind of these like mob bosses in each episode. So that could be something that I think would really And it would be good for like theorization and stuff like that, because I think that WandaVision obviously thought there was another big bad that Agatha is working with. We still think that because the Darkhold, Wanda has it now, and that's tied to Chthon and all these Dark Elder gods and stuff. But it'll be really interesting to see, because like if we have these other organizations, then we can theorize about like these characters popping up and, you know, Baron Zemo recruiting characters to his cause and stuff like that. And, and, you know, Sebastian Stan and George St. Pierre have said that the theorizing will be as good as WandaVision. So I know that they're probably hyping it up, but, you know, still, that's still pretty exciting for them to say that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I think the idea of having, you know, different bad guys each week, amazing. I think that's a great point. I hope that they do that, because it would be a little bit different of a way that they've shown like Baron Zemo's skill set. You know, being able to kind of control these other smaller players and do what he wants them to do, while he behind the scenes makes a larger plot go on. Yeah, I'm here for it. Also, you're kind of pixelated.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, damn. I'll report that.
Yeah, your audio is fine. I can hear you now. A second ago, you were
unstable internet. It says that's impossible because my internet is really great. But yeah, I think that was kind of the most of what we wanted to talk about. Anyways, we just wanted to do a fun little preview, which means we will be doing an episode breakdown next week. Right, it's coming at us fast, man. We don't have that much of a break, but that's awesome. I think that that's exciting, and that we're getting back into it, because talking about WandaVision was so fun. It was more, I think, speculative, right? We got to be able to theorize and do all of that, but now we can do more. I think of like more of an analytical approach to this, and that'll be a super fun format to explore as well.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm ready.
And that's it for today, everyone. We want to thank you for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Kate, Vlad, everyone that's in the live chat that joined us today. Jess, everyone that's listening. I see Rick Hoppy in chat. All of the awesome people that were listening today. We will be back again Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week for the Marvel Podcast. And we're going to be discussing episode number 1 of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh man, right? Like that's kind of crazy, right? Oh man, like we
I can't believe it's already here.
Same, dude. Marvel Phase 4 killed it by starting it off with WandaVision, right? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for us today, chat. We really appreciate your support. You can check out Hack's Dogma, all of his links in the description of the video. He's going to be making some more Marvel content. You're going to want to go check that out. My links are in the description of the video. We'll see you again soon, everyone. Thanks for joining us.